Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. Now, this time we're back with the C64. Now, this is something I've been meaning to look at for a long while. I always say that, don't I? Most of my videos I say this is something I've been meaning to look at for a while, but I have. bwack sent me this, must be 12 months ago now. He did a really good video on this, and he did some modifications. What this is a Nunchuck adapter to C64 joysticks, and you can see it's got both the ports there. So the idea is you plug this into the side of your C64. Because the board profile's the same, between the bread bin and the 64C, it's identical, I think, that will fit either. And as you can see, you've got two little Nunchuck adapters here. So what I mean by Nunchuck is one of these. If you've never had a Wii before, you'll have never seen one of these, but yeah, they have the little connector here, that's designed to plug in there, and you can use one of these to control your C64. Now the other nice thing with that is there's obviously lots of different controllers you could get for the Wii, like this, the classic pad here. So you've got a proper D-pad and some A and B buttons, kind of reminiscent of one of the original pads that you got with the NES. I mean, you can still use the analog stick and stuff, but I quite like using the digital pad there and the A and the B button. So a little bit about this, it's using an Atmel, is it a Mega 328 little MCU there, and you can see there's very little else on here. You've got a 3.3 volt regulator up there, a little LED, a diode, a couple of transistors I think there, and a couple of caps and a switch. I think the switch is to toggle the port or something here, I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll try that in a minute, we'll just see what that does. So bwack downloaded the design and did some modifications, and I think he was trying to remove the reliance on this, because that's obviously one of the more expensive parts and stuff, and it's yeah, it would be nice to remove the need for that. And you can see he came up with this revised board here. So I think that, remembering back to when he did the video, I think he forked his design off on GitHub, so there's two designs there. I don't know whether it's still there, so I presume it probably is the one that bwack's done. And as you say, you can just plug your controller into the end of there, and you don't need the more expensive connector there. So that's really sweet. So we'll try both of these. I think on this revision, he did say that a little wire was needed, or two little wires there, you can see, just to fix a couple of corrections. I don't think the original one had those, no it didn't, but I think he's probably revised this now. And you can see the author's name there, actually, Toolen, so it's D. Toolen. Before I forget, one of the things that bwack told me, he did say he'd reverted his design actually, because it's possible to put the thing in the wrong way, and then obviously you could feed the voltage in the wrong way, so he retracted it for that reason. That's not something I would have thought of. It's not an obvious thing, if you think about it. You're thinking, okay, solve the problem by removing one of those and just having that, but yeah, I mean, there's ways around that. You could just, I don't know, put some sort of indication to say which side up it is, because these all have this plastic thing under here, can you see? If you look at this one. So you could have something on the silkscreen there that says plastic here. There's ways around that. You could even 3D print something maybe. The other thing that bwack let me know about, he said he'd sent 11 of these boards out originally to various channels to get them to have a look at it and stuff. And Philo, a chap who I follow on Twitter, I'm not sure if he watches my channel, I guess he probably does. I'm not sure if his username is the same over here on YouTube. But he tried one of these with a third-party Nunchuck and it wouldn't work. And I think bwack and the author were theorising it was perhaps a software issue. I think bwack was saying with those third-party ones you get some sort of watchdog going on or something. So yeah, that's an important point. If you're going to get one of these, make sure you've got an official Nunchuck or some other official type controller that hopefully should work with this. So without further ado, we'll connect these up. I think we'll do this one first. So the side of the C64 here, this is the sort of thing you could do with something 3D printed, a little shell or something to fit round it at some point if this was going to be commercial, but you just need to just carefully push it in like that. It was a bit tight the first time, I have to admit, but after having pushed it in once, it fits okay now. We'll plug this in first, I think. We'll try the Nunchuck second. So yeah, you can only get them one way. Yeah, the plastic's on the top side actually, so contrary to what I was saying a minute ago about the plastic being underneath, yeah, plastic goes on the top side. And you can't pull these out unless you squeeze the little fittings on the side there. So that's sweet. So we'll just power it up now. Now it's a really funny coincidence, but within the last month or so, there has been a version of Super Mario Bros. 64 which has become infamous already. You'll be aware of it if you've been keeping up with the news feeds and things. Yeah, Nintendo obviously put a DMC on this, a call takedown request or whatever it is on this game. because obviously it's using their IP. The interesting thing though, it's not a sold system. You know, this system is not obviously commercial anymore, and the games aren't commercial for it. Well, you can buy new games, but no one's selling this game. This game is free. The reason why Nintendo do that, because, you know, I had a similar thing a few years ago where I had to take something down. I forget what it was now. It was a similar sort of thing where it was a remake of something, and I'm not going to go into too much details, but the bottom line is I got into some pretty heated discussions with some people on a forum about it, and there was someone from the copyright industry there. Well, it's not really the right word, it's the legal side of things, not the copyright industry. Somebody knew an awful lot about copyright law, and what he was saying is the main reason why these large companies like Nintendo have to pull these things down, regardless of how insignificant it may seem, is it sets a precedent. So that means, say for instance, someone produces a version of this game for the iPhone or something and just decides to start selling it, and it goes to court. In court, they could say, well, actually, Nintendo did not issue a takedown for the version that was on the C64 and wherever else. And that's the main reason why companies you know, do these takedowns like that. But that said, you know, there's a difference. It's not being sold. I could understand maybe if someone was selling it for 99p, but they're not. But anyway, that's the bottom line. The interesting thing is now the A button works, whereas a minute ago the B button was the button. So I'm not sure if this supports two buttons actually. It's a bit strange. In fact, it does. Yeah. Do you see me speeding up there? Hold the B button down, he runs fast, super fast straight away. So both buttons work on this game with this adapter. Just so you can see I'm actually using this, and if I hold down the B button there, just watch, he runs straight away. And if I don't hold it down, see, it takes a gradual amount of time to run. So yeah, that button runs and the other one obviously jumps. Sweet. So talking about this game now, rather than the adapter here, I think it's actually amazing really. It looks exactly the same. I'm sure there is a subtle difference. I think there's like half a tile missing on the bottom there. The sound is obviously struggling with the 3 channels on the SID chip here, but on the menu options there, when you first boot it, you can choose dual SID, but you need obviously a true stereo setup where each SID is on its own base address. In my system here, this is pseudo stereo at the moment. But nevertheless, I think the author of this game has done a fantastic job. I think, I'm only guessing here, I think what he's done here is taken the original 6502 code and ported it to the C64. So any calls to the PPU and the PAPU, he's obviously put routines there to handle that, I think. But obviously the main thing you'll have had a problem with is replicating the scrolling. And from what I understand, he's used an exploit there, not really an exploit, but something that was discovered. I think it's done with some really clever timing. It's like a glitch that someone's worked out, and I think it involves basically just moving the pointer. You'll have a pointer in RAM that points to a specific, you know, area of video, and they move that pointer in such a way that it actually, you know, the VIC, without doing any work at all, is able to, you know, as it keeps displaying, it's displaying the screen, but you're managing to scroll along. But from what I understand, the timing behind that was one of the biggest challenges, and it was one reason why it had not been exploited in so long. You know, it's took until 2018-19 before someone's managed to do something like this and pull off really smooth scrolling with it. I mean, it slows down a little bit from time to time, this game, but yeah, it's very good nonetheless. Without the slowdown, you'd think you were playing on an actual NES, I think. So we'll try some of the games here while we're at it as well, just to make it a bit more interesting, because there's not a lot to show. We'll try the other adapter in a minute. So this is another recent bit of Homebrew, actually. I'll stick the author up there. Yeah, Neutron. In fact, you can see there, Sarah Jane Avery. She's working on an RPG at the moment, actually, for the C64, and it looks fantastic. So yeah, I'm sorry it's a bit overbright, the TV here, but you can see this is a little shmup. You can buy this I'll put the link down below. It's one of these where you just pay how much you want. I think I paid, I don't know, £5 or £6 for it or something, but you can literally just pay $1 or something, or £1, and it's yours. So yeah, it's pretty good. Nice smooth scrolling, nice music, nice sprite work. Oh, crashed. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty good. Let's just check out some of the other games. This is another game available on itch.io. But it's free, you know, you can just decide whether you want to donate anything to the author. So I did a donation again on this one for, I don't know, £4 or £5 I think. But yeah, the movements and stuff feels much more like the first game than the second on this. But anyway, nevertheless, if you like Bruce Lee, you should really check this out, and Bruce Lee 2. Yeah, so another remake, I think. Yeah, Donkey Kong Jr., sweet. So we'll hit a button here, I think. Might have to press space. I'm not sure if that's still loading, actually. Yeah, so it says hit fire, so we'll press the fire button there. And as you can see, sweet. And again, this looks very, very close, if not identical, to the NES version. I always thought the movement on this was crazy slow. Oh, it's not so bad if you go between two of the rows. This is a game I'm not very good at all. Can you jump all the way over there? Why did I fall off then? I'm not sure. I might have pressed right by mistake. Let's try that again. Yeah, if you go between them like that, you can go quicker. But obviously, when the insects sort of are there, oh, yeah. Anyway, it's pretty hard. I could never get the use of that game. And Cookie, you might be familiar with Cookie. This is a game that was not on the C64, should have been, but as you can see, there's a nice sweet port of it to the C64 now. So F1. Yeah, they were playing this on Retro Gaming the other week actually on the Spectrum. The idea is to obviously blast these ingredients here into the bowl at the bottom, but don't get the metal things in there, like that tin went in for example, and the count will then go up. You can see I need 15, 16, 15, 14, hang on, 13, oh, yeah, anyway, it's a simple but fun game. This might be another one that supports stereo if you've got true stereo, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't mention it, it might do if you've got a true stereo set up there, it might detect it, I don't know. Anyway, we'll start the game. This is a fantastic game on the Atari 65XE actually. It's nice to see it on the C64. Nice music. I'm not sure I'm not sure whether I prefer the 65XE version actually, well the Atari version, you know, so it work on the Atari 800 and stuff. But the idea is to just bounce around here and stay on the you know, ground. The colours are sort of a bit weird and psychedelic on this, I can't think of the word then. And the different types of pad you bounce on have different effects. You can speed up and slow down or bounce further, etc. It's perhaps harder to see on this one versus the Atari version that I'm used to playing. The music's not as good in my mind. But anyway, nevertheless, nice to see it on the C64. You're not going to believe this, I've just tried to put the micro SD card in there and it's gone inside the case. And, you know, it's sealed this, it's glued. So, how I'm supposed to get that out of there, I don't know, I might be able to prise it a bit. I don't know. Well, that was lucky, it does just prise open. If you just pull it at the front here, it clips out on either side, so it's not, I haven't broken anything. I've just been able to retrieve the card. I can never remember which way around this goes, and it's super easy to miss the slot and just stick it straight into the case. That's it, I think. Yeah, there we go. Need to cut my nails again. It's a good job I had a thumbnail that long, otherwise I wouldn't be able to stick it in there. This is another game available from itch.io. It's called Organism. Yeah, you can see it's kind of, it's got that. In fact, can you see down there, Smiler? I mentioned Smiler on my live stream I did last week actually, to do with GP2X dev. Yeah, so as I said, he's a Smiler, Trevor Story is he? He's synonymous with the homebrew scene. He's done some fantastic artwork on this game, so let's just skip the title there and jump straight in. So yeah, you move your little character around like that and navigate the ship. It can be quite hard to shoot some of these things, you've got to be straight in front because you don't see projectiles coming out. But yeah, you've got like little face hugger type things there, and you get the more traditional, you know, larger aliens as you get further into the ship here. And you have a different mission on each level. This one I've got to locate a disc or something. I've got it there, I think. Yeah, I think it's quite short, this first level. Yeah, if you get too close, just attach themselves to your face, I think. Yeah, like that. disk required. Anyway, you get the general idea. It's you know, kind of Sable Wolfish in the, you know, exploration of a little maze-like setup. Is that a disc? I think it is. Let's try that. It still says disc required. I don't know. I don't know what I collected. I think it was a pass or something. You can see down here actually you've got to rescue a certain number of crew members. You've got a data pass and a disc. I must have collected a pass. Anyway, that's pretty cool as well, worth checking. So to wrap this up now, we'll just give this one a quick go. We'll try with a nunchuck with this one, I think. So I'll switch it off. And we'll just carefully pull it out. Yeah, so the plastic bit goes upwards. I've no reason to believe that bwack would have changed that. We'll try that button as well actually while we do it on this one. It's going to be the same between both of them in terms of how it operates. So this is Aviator 2. I can't quite remember, I think this is a piece of recent Homebrew as well actually. So this time we're using the nunchuck here. I'm guessing if I pull the trigger maybe, or is it the button? It might need a key press this one, let's press space. Yeah, incredibly hard to play with this type of controller. I prefer that gamepad if I'm honest. The gamepad gives a much better experience. So you'll have seen this game before. It's the remake of Ghosts and Goblins by Nostalgia. But I just want to stress this button. I've got both these controllers plugged in at the moment, and the idea is I'm going to try and press that switch just to see if I can toggle between them, I think. So initially we're on the thumbstick here, as you can see, and if I press the button on the board, the LED is lit, and I think now when I spawn again, this one should work. Could be wrong. I think that's the way it works. Come on. Or maybe not, because it's waiting for a button press on here. Yeah, the little hold down of that button, I'll show you in a sec. You can see the little light toggles over there. It's toggled to the other controller. So it just saves you having to unplug and plug things in. So the button here, you use this to switch the mode actually, and the LED's off, which indicates it's in mode off. And if we just look at the phone here, to get that to focus, yeah, mode off. It toggles what the actual controls do, so like joystick up goes up. But there are other modes here, mode F1 and mode F2, where you will see that yeah, the A and the B buttons can go up and down or left and right. So there are a number of ways you can configure this. And the LED indicates what mode you're in, so that's in mode 1. I think one of them is a quick press, is it? Yeah, the LED, that's on, so mode's on. And if you press it again, see it's flashing twice. At one point I noticed it swapped over to the other controller here, which is interesting, but if you hold it again, yeah, the flashing pattern changes there. Yeah, it's gone back round again. So I'm not going to test all the individual modes there, but as you can see, you've got a lot of flexibility. If you want to know more about this, I'll post another link down below to _C64 Customs. There's another good C64 channel that you should be subscribed to. He's done quite an in-depth video on this, and I think he was using those little 8-bit DOE adapters. You know, you can get a little wireless adapter that just plugs in there. It's about this long, a little dongle plugged into each port, and that you then use wireless controllers. You can get something like this in wireless form, you know, what have the cable here with the little dongles, and you can just plug the two dongles in there, sync them up, and use something like this to play your games on your C64. Yeah, so sorry it's not a very long video this time, but nevertheless I thought it would be interesting just to show you those. He's done a really good job, like I said, the assembly's really good. I like the revisions he did to that one, despite the fact you could flip it the other way. I still think that's really good. I'll perhaps give away that one at some point on my channel to one of my subscribers. I've got a few things that I want to give away to subscribers coming up. But yeah, check out bwack's channel. He's done some really good videos. I do hope you found the video interesting. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.